Arizona joins Nevada and Texas in Tesla's robotaxi push. Tesla has been granted approval by the Arizona Department of Transportation to begin testing its autonomous robotaxi vehicles in the state with a safety monitor, according to multiple reports. Earlier this month, Nevada's DMV also cleared Tesla to test its autonomous fleet, further advancing the company's robotaxi ambitions. This follows a limited pilot launched in Austin, Texas in June for select enthusiasts, investors, and influencers, which was opened to all riders earlier this month.
OpenAI eyes $100 billion backup server spend as ChatGPT nears 1 billion users. OpenAI is weighing a $100 billion investment in backup servers to support surging demand for ChatGPT, which is nearing 1 billion weekly active users, the information reported. This would be on top of the $350 billion already earmarked for cloud providers through 2030. The move comes as OpenAI works to prevent future outages, some of which have lasted hours over the past year.
Lithium Americas slides as Trump administration reconsiders $2.3 billion Thacker Pass loan. Lithium Americas fell over 3% pre-market Tuesday after Bloomberg reported the U.S. Department of Energy is re-evaluating a $2.3 billion loan approved under the Biden administration for the Thacker Pass lithium project in Nevada. The loan would fund most of the processing plant construction next to one of the largest U.S. lithium deposits. The review comes after a senior advisor in the agency's loan programs office warned the project could fail to draw customers because of competition from cheaper Chinese lithium, the Washington Free Beacon previously reported. The agency may also push General Motors, which owns a 38% stake in the project, to sign a binding offtake agreement for the mine's production. NVIDIA commits $100 billion to power OpenAI's superintelligence vision. NVIDIA plans to invest up to $100 billion in OpenAI over time to build advanced AI data centers. The companies will deploy at least 10 gigawatts of NVIDIA systems, representing 4 to 5 million GPUs, to power OpenAI's next-generation AI models on the path to superintelligence. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang told CNBC the investment is additive to everything that's been announced and contracted, signaling it goes beyond current Wall Street guidance. To underscore the scale of the deal announced, Huang noted that the 4 to 5 million GPUs required represent twice NVIDIA's total shipments from last year and are roughly equivalent to the company's entire projected GPU shipments for 2025. The first phase, using NVIDIA's Vera Rubin platform, is set to go online in the second half of 2026. OpenAI will treat NVIDIA as a preferred compute and networking partner, with both companies co-optimizing their hardware and software roadmaps. The partnership does not prevent NVIDIA from investing with other AI firms like Anthropic or xAI.
OKLO hits new high following groundbreaking of first Aurora powerhouse. OKLO shares closed 3.7% higher on Monday, posting another all-time intraday high of $142.85 after the company broke ground on its first Aurora power plant, Aurora INL, at Idaho National Laboratory. The plant is one of 3 projects awarded under the U.S. Department of Energy's reactor pilot program. OKLO received fuel for its first reactor in 2019 and is awaiting approval to fabricate its initial core at a new facility at Idaho National Laboratory. We Ride and Grab to launch Singapore's first autonomous ride service. We Ride will deploy its GXRs and Robobus vehicles in Singapore for Air, short for Autonomously Intelligent Ride, Grab's first autonomous ride service for consumers in the city-state. Chosen by Singapore's Land Transport Authority for Singapore's first autonomous shuttle service in a residential area, Air will operate along 2 designated routes in Punggol, a planned eco-town in northeast Singapore that often serves as a testbed for smart city and mobility innovations. The service will launch with a fleet of 11 vehicles and is the only service approved to run on both routes. Starting this month, Air vehicles will begin an extensive route familiarization phase in Punggol with an onboard safety operator in the initial stage. By early 2026, Air is expected to begin carrying its first passengers. Both the 5-seater We Ride GXR and 8-seater Robobus have passed Singapore's stringent Milestone 1 assessment, making them the first autonomous vehicles designated for Punggol to attain this certification.
Lithium Americas soars 75% as Trump administration eyes 10% equity stake. Lithium Americas surged more than 75% in early trading after Reuters reported the Trump administration is seeking an equity stake of up to 10% in the company, while renegotiating its $2.3 billion Department of Energy loan for the Thacker Pass project. The approximately $3 billion Nevada project was originally approved under Trump's first term, with the loan finalized during Biden's administration. Lithium Americas had been scheduled scheduled to make its first loan draw earlier this month, but Trump officials delayed the process, citing concerns over repayment amid low lithium prices. This follows earlier reports that the loan itself is under review. Rocket Lab delivers NASA Mars satellites to Kennedy Space Center. Rocket Lab has delivered 2 small satellites, named Blue and Gold, to NASA's Kennedy Space Center for the upcoming ESCAPADE mission. Built in partnership with the University of California, Berkeley, the twin spacecraft will study how Mars's magnetosphere interacts with the solar wind and how the planet loses its atmosphere. Rocket Lab finished designing, building, and testing the spacecraft in 2024, completing the work in just 3.5 years, an accelerated timeline for a Mars mission. At Kennedy, engineers will inspect, fuel, and prepare the satellites for launch. ESCAPADE will ride to Mars on a SpaceX Falcon Heavy, then spend 22 months cruising before entering complementary elliptical orbits around the planet to begin their science operations.
Air Force-backed IONQ milestone brings quantum internet closer. IONQ shares rose over 4% in Tuesday's trading after announcing it had successfully converted visible photons from its trapped ion systems into telecom wavelengths, a key milestone for long-distance quantum networking. The prototype, developed with support from the Air Force Research Lab, enables quantum computers to connect using existing fiber optic infrastructure. CEO Niccolo De Masi said, "We will soon connect 2 quantum computers over standard wavelengths, opening the floodgates for broadly networked quantum devices using commercial fiber infrastructure." ATAI Life Sciences rises after promising data from depression trial. ATAI Life Sciences shares rose nearly 15% on Tuesday after mid-stage trial results showed that its 2-dose nasal spray treatment, BPL-003, led to rapid, significant, and long-lasting improvements in depression symptoms, with benefits lasting up to 3 months. BPL-003 is an intranasal spray formulation of 5-MeO-DMT, a short-acting psychedelic tryptamine, delivered as its benzoate salt for faster and more controlled absorption. The trial used an 8 mg dose followed by a 12 mg dose 2 weeks later, with the second dose producing greater reductions in depression scores. If FDA feedback is favorable, ATAI plans to launch a Phase 3 trial in the first half of 2026. IONQ hits record algorithmic qubit score of 64, setting new quantum benchmark. IONQ announced it achieved a record algorithmic qubit score of 64 on its 5th-generation IONQ tempo system, 3 months ahead of schedule. Algorithmic qubit benchmarks measure a quantum system's ability to run quantum algorithms of increasing complexity and size while maintaining high fidelity, the company said in a September 25th statement. Planet Labs expands production to Berlin with new Pelican satellite factory. Planet Labs will build a new factory in Berlin to produce its next-generation Pelican satellites, doubling production capacity alongside its San Francisco site. CEO Will Marshall stressed Europe's urgent need for independent intelligence capabilities, saying, "Europe needs its own eyes, and they need it now." The move supports regional security and follows strong growth, including a €240 million multi-year deal with Germany and a separate contract with NATO.
Centrus Energy surges after unveiling multi-billion-dollar Ohio uranium expansion. Centrus Energy shares jumped more than 13% Thursday after announcing plans for a multi-billion-dollar expansion of its uranium enrichment plant in Piketon, Ohio. The project, pending U.S. Department of Energy funding, would add thousands of centrifuges at the American Centrifuge plant to significantly scale production of both low-enriched uranium and high-assay low-enriched uranium. Trump administration eyes stakes in critical minerals firms amid supply chain push. The Trump administration is in negotiations to acquire equity stakes in several critical minerals companies, according to the information. The talks, tied to Department of Energy grants and loans, aim to secure U.S. access to metals vital for batteries and clean energy. This follows July's deal, where the U.S. took a 15% stake in MP Materials for $400 million. MP Materials shares were plus 11.6% to as high as $82.23 in Thursday's trading, near an all-time intraday high. Other stocks surged on the news, including Neocorp, up 13.16%, USA Rare Earth, up 9.18%, and Critical Metals, up 4.78%. Lithium Americas more than doubled this week after reports the U.S. government may secure up to a 10% stake. Separately, G7 nations and the EU are weighing price floors for rare earths and new taxes on some Chinese exports to spur investment.